Hey everyone, in this video we're checking out a tiny house with a really interesting feature we haven't seen anywhere else. This is a 24-foot long tiny house on wheels with a rooftop deck that's built right into the roof line, which is a great way to create an outdoor space that moves with the house, especially for someone who doesn't have room to build a deck where they're going to be parked. It also has a kitchen with loads of counter space, a loft with extra headroom, a dishwasher, and a hidden combo washer-dryer. We think you'll love this modern and functional design, and we're going to meet up with Daniel the builder to get a full tour. Let's go check it out. This video is sponsored by Audible. We'll give you more information about them at the end, plus the details you need to get a free audiobook and more.
In the living room here, one of the things that makes spaces feel bigger are big windows. So we have put as much window in as possible, including up at the top, maybe a celestial window, if you will. If someone was going to live here permanently, I would probably put some cabinets up top as extra storage. We don't have a lot of seating in here, but you could easily rearrange this in different ways and get extra seating in here. But it's really comfortable and it feels really big. And where it's parked right now, we've got some awesome views out there. We have 11-foot ceilings up in here, so that also creates a lot of open space. And so if we had open ceilings everywhere, that would have been awesome. We still maintained regular 8-foot ceilings in the kitchen, even though we have a rooftop patio on top, which we'll see later. So I've designed hundreds of kitchens in my design career, and so that's a big thing for me in getting a functional kitchen and making it actually work properly. One of the big things is having countertop on both sides of things. So we've got countertop on both sides of the sink, we've got countertop on both sides of the stove, and it just makes prep and cleaning that much easier. We've actually put quartz countertops in here. Really nice, easily cleanable. It obviously weighs a bit, so that was kind of a concern, but it just gives that really nice, pristine, high-end look that we're going for. So because we built this to showcase how off-grid could work, we did as much propane stuff as possible. So in the utility room, the water heater is propane, and we also went with a propane cooktop. The oven is a speed oven because everything's got to have double use. This is a microwave and an oven, so that works out really nicely. We just put a single bowl sink in. We have the dishwasher in here. It works really well. We got a full fridge. It's stepped forward a bit because of the wheel well again. And if I were going to build the same one again, I would actually keep it against the wall and build it higher with a drawer underneath, just like the rest of the cabinets. And all of this is custom cabinetry, and all the drawers, most of the drawers are this deep, and then all the bottom drawers though are half depth because of the wheel wells. So this side as well is half depth, and then even under the stove is half depth. And that's why we put the cabinets on both sides here, so that we could hide the wheel wells. This was originally supposed to be the dresser, because you're not going to stand in a loft and get dressed. You're going to come down the stairs anyways. So we said, okay, we'll put the dresser right at the bottom of the stairs. And then we were standing here during framing one day and saying, you know, the only thing we haven't gotten in here yet is a washer dryer. And I sat and I stared at this spot and I went, wow, this is perfect. So we have the washer and dryer in here, and then we hide it from the front door. One of the big things about a lot of the lofts that we see is how hard it is to get up some of those stairs. So we decided to make a stair ladder here to be as comfortable as possible. So we got a pretty good lean on this and as big of a tread as possible. And then because the dresser didn't end up here, we tell people who stay in here that this is the dresser in these drawers on this side. And there's plenty of storage in the rest of the kitchen to make that work. So going to the bathroom. And so we've got a composting toilet over on this side. And then we have a really nice shower that we built over here. So we wanted everything to feel as spacious as possible. So one of the biggest premises here, and we'll see this when we go up to the loft for sure, but is ceiling heights. So in here we've got a lot of height in the ceiling, and that was accomplished by making the 4x4s, the joists, and then this is actually the subfloor upstairs. So behind the shower here we have the mechanical room, which when we first started building this, we didn't anticipate putting all of this in here, and then we thought, let's use this as a model and show people how they could do off-grid living. So we only have 2 batteries in here. If you really want to live off grid, you'd need 8. So that's why we need the 26 feet, not the 24, because ideally I would have a whole 2 feet by 8 feet wide of a utility closet to fit stuff in here properly. So we're able to stack 2 30-gallon water tanks. So one's a freshwater, one's gray water. Whereas if you were actually going to live off grid, you'd want more like 120-gallon tanks. We got the inverter. We've got a separate electrical panel here to switch from solar to regular. Because like we said, we've got enough batteries to make it, to show people how it works. And I could flip to solar now and everything will work. But it's only going to last a day and then it shuts off and it doesn't have enough solar panels on the roof to actually charge everything. So, and then we got the water heater in here as well. So the floor is shoshugiban, which is an ancient Japanese art of burning wood to preserve it, so it gets rid of all the moisture. Now the cool thing about that from a tiny home perspective is that it's about half the weight when there's no moisture left. But they burn it, scrape it, wash it, and then put some paint on top and then varathane the paint in place. And it creates a cool floor. But because it's been preserved, even when it gets wet in the bathroom, it'll be fine. So our big premise in everything that we did, starting from how the trailer was custom designed with a drop axle system to gain a few inches, was to ensure that we didn't have to crawl in our loft. So as I show you this, we can actually walk in our loft. And we're not, I mean, you're not upright, but at least you're not crawling on your hands and knees. And so this works awesome for us. In addition to that, we wanted to make sure that you could actually sit up in your bed and read a book or, you know, watch a movie on your iPad at night. And I think we achieved what we were looking for. It works out really nice. So if you notice, we have a lot of big windows in this place, which is another thing that we really wanted to showcase, because as I said earlier, the bigger the windows, the more feeling of open space, because you're now kind of living outside. So our average window size is 2 feet by 5 feet. They're all casements, so we can have them open in pouring rain and still have cross breeze in here, and it works really well. It's actually kind of warm out today, and we have yet to turn the air conditioning on. And it's nice and cool in here with all the spray foam insulation and the cross breeze that we have going between the windows. If you're in a tiny home that's traveling around a lot, you don't have time to build a deck at a new location that you're going to be at for 2 days. So we thought, why not put a rooftop patio on? And it was incredibly difficult on how to waterproof that and structure it and everything, but we did it, and it's awesome. So welcome to our rooftop patio. We got a little bistro set up here for our guests to stay in. This is about 100 square feet, well, more like 85, but of just a nice place to hang out and take in nature. Our railings, just like inside, are glass, just leaves a lot of openness. We can also see here our solar panels, and we put a wind turbine in just to collect some more energy when the sun's not shining. This is only 500 watts of power. It's not enough to run this house off of, but there's lots of roof space left to put more on if we wanted to upgrade. So one of the hardest things about creating this rooftop patio is making it waterproof. If we just had a flat deck, it would be easy, but we've got this hole to get into the door. And so this whole thing had to be waterproof even when the door is closed. So I used to not like this product, but we were working on a really high-end house in Oakville, and it had Duradeck on the deck, and it was 30 years old, and it needed a little bit of cleaning, but once it was cleaned, it looked like the day it was put in. And I thought, you know what? If it's still working, I can use it. And so it's worked out awesome here, and it's perfectly waterproof, and it looks pretty cool. So the whole outside we also did in shoshugiban, just like the bathroom floor. So this is all burnt siding. You can see all the black there. We didn't have to restain that one. And as that added benefit, like I was saying before, it's a lot lighter. The roof we just did in a what would be called barn steel, I guess. And it's nice and cost effective, and it's very reflective, which also helps because all the sunlight gets reflected out instead of absorbing into the house. So this is a really exciting time because of how fast everything is changing. There already is a housing crisis. There's more demand than there are houses, which makes the house prices even higher again. So we need to come up with alternatives. And I'm talking about single detached houses. And I really believe that tiny houses is one of those alternatives, one of those ways that we can create a higher density in different spots. We see tiny houses as transitional living. So whether the millennial is transitioning out of their parents' house before they go buy a bigger house that is on a property, or whether it's retirement people transitioning out of their two-story home but before they necessarily need to go to assisted living. So this is really an answer for transitional living in between all of the other forms. So originally when we built this one, we thought we would sell it and then build another one, and then sell it and build another one. But we've decided that we're only gonna build on demand when people order one, but we've kept this one as a model for people to come see, because they need to stand in something before they decide that, yes, I can do this. And they need to stay in it. So we have this one up on Airbnb so that people can stay in it and see if they can actually live like this.
If you like this tiny house design, you should definitely check out True North Tiny Homes on Instagram because they have a lot of really interesting tiny house projects coming up. We also want to thank Audible again for sponsoring this video. We think audiobooks are a great way to reduce physical clutter in your living space. If you're interested in downsizing or living in small spaces, you should check out The Big Tiny by Dee Williams. She's a pioneer of the tiny house movement, and this audiobook is a memoir of her experience building and living in her first tiny house. Audible also has Audible Originals, which are custom audiobooks that you can't get anywhere else. You can get your first audiobook for free, plus 2 Audible Originals when you sign up to try Audible for 30 days. Go to audible.com/exploring alternatives to start your free trial, or if you're in the US, you can text Exploring Alternatives to 500-500. We love listening to audiobooks when we're on the road. It really helps pass the time on long drives. So if you're interested in checking them out, again, you can get a free audiobook and 2 free Audible Originals when you try Audible for 30 days. To get the free trial, go to audible.com/exploring alternatives, or if you're in the US, you can text Exploring Alternatives to 500-500. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.